sorry, because we were talking before about the different rules in different neighborhoods,
Yeah.
right, in different countries, right? So that's why it's so important to expose the players to different games, the soccer
Hmm.
games, right, to different rules and get them thinking. The players, as we were talking to Ahmed in our first episode, like the players took a while for them to figure out the rules. Okay, now I know the rules. What's the strategy? What can I do? How can I take advantage of it, right? That's amazing. But I was gonna sorry for interrupting, Junior, but I was gonna ask you, like, what's the feedback from your players, like first class academy? Like, what's the goal, the expectations for this season? Are the players enjoying? Are you seeing improvement?
I think they're enjoying it, of course. I mean, obviously, results kind of help in the emotion of the enjoyment, right? You want the better the result, the easier it is to swallow the result, right? But I think they're enjoying. I mean, the main goal for me was understanding that there was going to be men, right? There was going to be some high level players playing. Once I knew that Scottish was in it, it was a no brainer. If we can play against Major League Scottish and not have to be in Major League, that's going to be that's going to be amazing, right? Because those guys can move the ball well and it's showing in their results. So my expectation was just for them to go and play and feel the discomfort, right? My job as a director isn't necessarily to create comfort. Yeah, it's to give them an emotional comfort, but it's to give them discomfort on the field, because the reality is that as you step up the ladder, it's going to become more and more uncomfortable. And that was the only expectation. The results for me in the development phase don't really matter. As long as I'm seeing growth in certain aspects of technical and tactical development, I could care less if we lose or we win, because the development is gonna come, right? So preparing them for a higher level, preparing them technically, emotionally, physically to adapt to a higher level in the future, that's all that matters to me, right? If you win a couple of trophies along the way, awesome. But I never got a raise because I won provincials. I never got a better job because I went to provincials and won provincials, right? You got better because of your self-development, and that was the most important thing. And I'm seeing it, right? I'm seeing it with them, and also being able to kind of mix, right? I'm sure you've seen some of my players there that right? Some older guys, and allowing them to kind of help guide them within the games was
Hmm.
another important factor. Is that if you have a senior player that you can play with that really knows how to play the game, it's going to help, right? Even if they're not talking, you have someone to guide you, um, just by example. So that was a huge benefit too.
So actually, I was gonna change the subject to your club, right? Yeah, your club is right now 9 points. It's outside looking into the playoff scenario. 7 games, 3 wins, 4 losses, 32 goals for, 46 goals against. And they came out of the bat, big win against Scottish United. And then they struggle a couple of games, and they have won big games the last 2 games. And I'm certain you are really looking at when you're looking at games and everything. You have a very good player on number 10, on Adam, right? Adam Dasoki, he's really good. I'm really impressed with Adam's ability to create space, and then we gave him to play the match a couple of times. Um, can you talk about a little bit about this journey? And again, I know you're not here. I know you're not seeing the development. I know it's kind of hard, looking for all sign in, but you know those kids, you know those guys. What do you notice from game one win and then struggle a little bit, now picking up a couple of wins, back into the playoff debate, and what are you seeing there? What are you seeing from Farm?
Well, what I'm noticing is resiliency. That's what I'm noticing, that they're really gaining it. Futsal's quick, and just like in a 90-minute match, it's a little bit tougher because you have 3 lines to break down before you get to the goalie. But in futsal, you can be down 4-0 and be back up in no time, and that's kind of been what's happened to our team. Unfortunately, it's been on the negative side in some games where we went up and then we went down, and that just shows the resiliency of the other teams, right? And then I think after those results, I think that they got it in their heads that, like, hey, we can be down and still come back, and not give up. It's a quick game, and anything can happen. You could get a free kick from all the fouls, right? The foul out rule. So that's another situation that you have to keep in mind, that the more you have the ball at your feet, the more that you're pressing, the more opportunity you are to get fouled. And then if you get enough fouls, you're going to get a free shot. So that can put you back in the game. So for me, I've noticed that. And obviously, there's some things I wish I'd see more. The cycling of the ball, because that's what the game is. And it's kind of, in the sense, kind of like a hockey power play, where you see guys cycling the puck and moving around and pass, move, and creating spaces. Obviously, I'd love to see more of that, but they're still trying to figure it out, right? They're still trying to understand when I can go, when I should stay, when I should hold, and when I should give. And I see it's coming along. And just like for you guys, this was a pilot year. This is our pilot year as well. It doesn't matter how much you practice things without pressure in a gym by yourselves. It's completely different when you got music, you got fans, you got a 28-year-old man pressing you. So it's different.
Live stream, people need
live stream, right?
Yeah.
And they know I'm watching, because I message them after and give them the gears. So no, I'm happy. I'm happy with the way they're developing. I'm happy the way that they're fighting. I can't complain. Honestly, I can't complain.
What can you tell us about Adam? He's a very skilled player. That's something we noticed.
Adam is passionate, very passionate. Also, as I see that he's got a couple yellow cards.
3.
So he's a very
the next game.
Yeah, I noticed. He's a passionate kid. Okay, he loves the sport. He really loves the sport. He's come to Portugal with me 2 times to do our showcases. So that's helped him a lot in terms of understanding the level of pressure that he's going to be playing under. He did a couple trials last summer that he did really well, other than the fact that of his age and visas and stuff like that. It was the only hindrance. So he's done well to take on challenges and move forward. That's something that I've noticed he's very, very good at. He doesn't like to be drawn back. Any chance that he sees that it's going to be tough, he's going to put his head down, he's going to go forward. And that's something that is going to take him very far in life, right? If he takes that same characteristic into anything that he does, when things get tough, he's going to put his foot down and he's going to keep moving. I think that's going to give him the best shot in life. And then it shows, right? It shows in the way he plays. That's why he's gotten a few man of the matches. And not just that, I mean, he got the last man of the match in our last game, but he gave the shirt to our goalie. Okay, he recognized that the goalie played a huge part in that victory, and he said, no, I got awarded the man of the match because I got a hat trick, but you were the key factor to this victory, and he gave it to him selflessly. So for me, as a coach, as a friend, because I tell my players all the time, don't call me coach. I'm your friend. I'm not your coach. And to see a friend treat another friend like that and put him first is huge. That's a human trait that we can't necessarily give all the time. We can show by example, but then it's going to be up to you to do it. And to see him take that initiative, it wasn't a coach that told him, hey, maybe you should give it to this guy. And him do it himself at that age. And we know, Thiago, at that age, when you're young, you're hungry and you want all the accolades, right? But to be able to kind of put yourself aside and say, no, this guy was the key. So that was huge.
See, and that's the thing about sports that's amazing, right? It's raising men's and women's of character, and then it's the part of the sport that we as coaches and people that love the sports, like that's what we're here for, teaching these young boys and girls how to go. Go ahead, Thiago.
No, my next question would be, Felipe, can you tell us about your academy? Like, what's the purpose? If there's a father watching this, like why would he put his kids in your academy? What's behind? You mentioned about some showcases in Portugal. Can you just give us some information with everyone?
Yeah, the question I hate the most. not necessarily because I don't have an answer, but because I don't like to be a salesman, right? I'm more of a guy that likes to on the field and show my capabilities on the field. I don't like to talk about it and stuff like that. But I think what the academy does, obviously it's supplemental, right? we're not trying to interfere with club. We understand how important it is to compete and have kids playing club. But having another perspective, offering a little more guidance. I mean, a lot of the kids and parents that know me know that I'm pretty straightforward. This is probably the longest I've gone without swearing, because I know that I'm on a podcast. But I'm straightforward. I want kids to grow. I want them to feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations. I want them to develop at their rate. I want them to feel obsessed with a sport. I've never said that a coach or myself, I don't like to take the credit for the development of a player. Was I there to guide them? For sure. Did I help them with some information? Absolutely. But their obsession is what's going to take them there. If you're not obsessed, it doesn't matter how good the coach is. It doesn't matter how good the program is. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. Unless it's a Cristiano Ronaldo, unless it's a Messi, a Pep, they're gonna find it hard to listen and really grasp it. Now, we do our best. I do my best to give them my perspective of culture, my energy, my honesty, and treat them with respect. That's what I try to give the kids. And then there's the objective of the showcases and the experiences that we try to create. Like we were talking about earlier in culture. It's so hard. It's so hard, man. Like, you know, Thiago, like, you can try to create the most intense experiences in training and in games, but nothing compares. Nothing compares to the reality of being here and feeling it. So trying to create those opportunities where the players get to come here, they get to see it at an earlier age, the better, right? Because I think it's like a pyramid. And if we wait till we're at the top of the pyramid, then the only thing that happens when you're at the top of that pyramid is to go back down. So starting them early and trying to get them into these scenarios where they're playing against top clubs like Braga, Celta Vigo, Lusitania Lourosa, Beira Mar. These are the objectives. And then if we can provide some experience after it, some trials after it, great. If they get offered, great. But the key is to give them the experience, to keep the obsession, right? To keep them hungry, keep them wanting more, keep them going, and give them a benchmark. I've always said that if you want to be a good NHLer, right now we're really lucky. And if you were born in the 80s too as well, we had a good phase there. You can go watch the Oilers have an open practice. You want to see how fast you need to skate, go watch Connor, right? You can go and watch the Oilers play. But what's our benchmark? Watching Champions League on Tuesday? That's difficult, right? Like, it's not the same perspective. The speed is not the same. When you're there live, it's totally different. When you're in the crowd, it's totally different. So giving them that opportunity is very important, right? Whatever comes of it is best, or whatever comes of it, whether it does or doesn't. They got their experience, they got to try, and that's the most important for most adults, right? They wanted to know that I gave my best, and I don't want them to have regrets. How many players do we know? They're 30, they're 35, they're 40. I coulda, woulda, shoulda. But I didn't this, and this guy didn't that, and I didn't have this. If only I could have. I was so good. Like, well, you didn't. And that's the end of it. Now these kids can go on with their lives and have no regrets, no resentment. They tried. They had an opportunity. They got to see it, and now they know where they stand, and they can go on and go on with their lives, their relationships, their jobs, and they're not going to be one of those parents trying to live their dream through their children, and that's kind of a big part for me.
And I was telling Thiago, like, with the day, I think you muted Thiago, the day I fell in love with the game, it was when my dad took me for the first time to the Maracanã Stadium, and you see a big stadium, and you walk into a little hallway, and you see the green for the first time with the light, and you see the fan, like 100,000 people chanting, yelling the same thing. I fell in love. And again, like you said, like, it's true. It is hard for us to emulate that, but you know, in Brazil or in Portugal, it didn't start with 100,000 people, right? It started with 100 crazy people, like we're doing right now in Canada, and maybe some of these fruits is gonna be, we're only gonna see these down the road, right? We're only gonna be able to see this 20, 30, 40 years from now, but we need to start somewhere and to inspire. I think what the message you have there, Felipe, is to inspire these players, giving them the dream. Let's show them there is a dream. They can come in, and then if they do the hard work, probably won't happen. But they need that dream. That dream
Yeah.
is to earn, and if there is somewhere that they can do this, right? Sorry, Chaco, you got it.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. I think the biggest thing you're doing, Felipe, is you're taking kids there. Those kids, they're having that experience, the opportunity. They're coming back to Canada, and you're giving them a dream. They're gonna be dreaming for the next year, two, maybe three. With that, like, okay, I know what's like to be in Spain and Portugal. Maybe I want to be there, right? It's a dream. It might last 1 year. It might last 2 years. But you're giving them a dream. You're inspiring them to achieve higher goals, right? I think that's the most important thing.
I think another thing,
Well, thank
speaking
you.
for myself,
Go ahead.
and
Go ahead. Sorry, go
maybe
ahead.
yourself is like, anytime anyone has told me no, what would be my reaction, right? I would go harder. So even if I know a certain child, I mean, you have a notion. Okay, I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not going to tell a kid no. I'm never going to tell a kid no. I want reality to tell him no. I want him to try and have the situation tell him no. It's not my job to tell a kid he can or he can't. My job is to tell him, go for it. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep trying. I know it's going to be hard, but you keep going. And once you go and you try, and reality tells you, yes, you can, or no, you can't, that's the best way of showing someone whether they can or they can't. It's not, no Canadian coach, I'm sorry to say it, no Canadian coach has the right to tell a kid he can or can't do something in Europe until the kid goes and finds out for himself.